This is the Stormbringer bringing you the PZW Match of the Week on Shaw Television. God, did you see that impact, Tom? Unbelievable stuff. That is wood underneath that carpet. An absolutely devastating suplex. Superfly Dan versus MMA competitor Sky Ace. A no disqualification, no count out, I quit match. For those of you that aren't familiar with the history between these two great young stud athletes, here's the deal. There is a major separation in the left shoulder of Superfly Dan. MMA competitor Sky Ace is the reason that shoulder is a mess. Here's the deal, Tom. Superfly Dan challenged Sky Ace a couple months ago to a series of matches. It was brutal, it was violent, but in the end, Superfly Dan came out looking like a stud, and the crowd was solidly behind him. Now, we have reached a point, Tom, where Sky Ace has said, I am going to beat you so severely, you will quit. And here we are, no disqualification, no count out, I quit match. What is Dan setting up for? Going for a DDT, unbelievable. You can see the face and the head of Sky Ace met the cement. Dan obviously wanted to DDT him on the ring apron, but they end up going all the way down to the cement. You can see Superfly Dan thought for sure he had the victory. Sky Ace has not quit. Yes, Tom, I have been very critical of the world of MMA, and that has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, but I will acknowledge heart and will to win when I see it. And Sky Ace, there's a reason why earlier in this broadcast I referred to him as a young stud. I have been in the ring with Sky Ace before. This guy is unbelievably tough. Do not let his frame persuade you to think otherwise. He may not be the largest guy, but his feet are some of the deadliest weapons in Power Zone Wrestling. You saw him kick it at Dan earlier. The damage that this guy has done to many a wrestler's face with those unbelievable kicks is mind-blowing. You can see now Dan, Superfly Dan, has set Sky Ace up on a table. Nothing ever ends pretty when a wrestler is on a table. No disqualification, no count out, I quit match. This is unbelievable. Dan losing his balance. What is he setting up for? A corkscrew plancha. Unbelievable impact. How Sky Ace is not dead is beyond me. An absolutely mind-blowing impact. Here's a question. Who's going to quit? Superfly Dan after that, or Sky Ace? Unbelievable. Sky Ace has got to be done. How do you quit when you're out cold? That's the question. This is unbelievable stuff. I cannot believe Superfly Dan threw caution to the wind to that degree and used a maneuver like that. Obviously, his desire to beat Sky Ace outweighs all reasoning, outweighs all else, outweighs his future in the business. He wants to win, and he does. Sky Ace has had enough. Unbelievable. Six-man tag team action. The team of Mattias Wild, Lee Montana, and the Canadian Dream versus the Australian swim team. Lucas, Rick, and Obi, the arrogant Australians versus, in my opinion, Tom, possibly one of the best threesomes that have ever been put together in the history of Alberta professional wrestling. The young stud, Mattias Wild, Lee Montana, the big man from Colorado, and the almighty Canadian Dream. You can see Lucas in firm control, working down the back of Mattias Wild. Mattias Wild's not going to be able to leave his feet and nail some of those incredibly athletic maneuvers if he's got a bruised spine, Tom. And this is what amazes me about the Australian swim team. You wouldn't think it, but these guys wrestle with some of the most sound ring psychology I have ever seen out of a unit. They think as one. Look right there. Obi gets Lee Montana and the Canadian Dream to come into the ring when they shouldn't. You can see now Ref Vince distracted, pushing out Lee Montana, pushing out the Canadian Dream, and the AST gets to triple team the younger, smaller Mattias Wild. A kick out, a lot of heart out of Mattias Wild, Tom. I'm a huge fan of this young man. We all know I'm suspended. No word quite yet until I am brought back into action. Myself, the Stormbringer, sitting out. It's matches like this that make me yearn to be back in the PZW ring. Absolutely incredible stuff out of the Australians. I would love to match up with these guys. Who knows if I'll ever get the opportunity, Tom. Unbelievable stuff. You can see, again, the quick tags isolating in on the spine of Mattias Wild, setting him up onto the top rope. It is not a nice ride falling out of the penthouse. One's gotta wonder where this is going. Looks to be setting up for a double superplex. Mattias Wild is gonna have to fight his way out, or Lee Montana or the Canadian Dream got to get in that ring and break this up, because this is gonna be nothing but bad news for Mattias Wild. Mattias Wild fights his way out. He nails a beautiful flying double flying crossbody. Can Mattias Wild make the tag? Lee Montana's there for the tag. In comes the big man from Colorado. Another big clothesline. A second big clothesline. Nails Obi with a third big clothesline. Lee Montana now a big right hand. Sets up Rick. Here it comes. A beautiful looking spine buster. Look at the power in Lee Montana. One of the #1 new young talents in all of professional wrestling. Incredible stuff. The Canadian Dream now disposes of Obi like a piece of garbage. Mattias Wild now knocks out Lucas. It's one-on-one. Lee Montana and Rick. The double power bomb. Here it is. Look at the power. The sit out. 1, 2, 3. August 8th. The return of an icon. JD Michaels is back in Power Zone Wrestling.